Does he understand why the people of these islands, especially those of us in Scotland, treat him with such contempt? Have you ever seen the British Parliament erupt like a battlefield? Well, it just did. One MP finally snapped. No filters, no pleasantries, absolutely tore into karma right there on the chamber floor. All sense of respect vanished. The gloves were off. Starmer sat humiliated, head down, while Nigel Farage couldn't help but burst into laughter. But what exactly did that MP say that broke every rule of parliamentary decorum and left Starmer crumbling on camera? In this video, we dive into the full story. Dave Dugan came prepared not just to confront Starmer, but to publicly embarrass him, and he had a list to back it up. Welcome to Back Britain's Sub Britain. Unfold, before the election, this Prime Minister said he would lower energy bills by £300. Since he took office, they've gone up by £149. He said he would protect the winter fuel payment, but now he's in power. He stripped it off our pensioners. Keir Starmer once promised to cut energy bills by £300. For many struggling families, that offer felt like hope, something solid to hold on to in a time of crisis. But instead of savings, what did people get? A £149 hike. That's not just a broken promise, it feels like a betrayal. While working families ration heat and skip meals to get by, the energy giants thrived. Starmer said he'd take them on. Instead, he stood by them for it, by extending the windfall tax on oil and gas companies in the North Sea, who've made much bigger profits than they expected. But also because our proposal, which is to prevent those energy prices, increases going forward, will also dampen inflation, and therefore the money that would otherwise be paid on our debt, because inflation is so high, would not have to be paid. So that's how we'll pay for it. I mean, as you said just a moment ago, millions of families are really struggling to make ends meet, to pay their bills, and the price cap is going to go from just under about £2,000 per household to £3,500 in October, and then to £4,200 in January. And there will be millions of people watching this who say, I just can't afford that increase. So, we got a choice really. He wasn't honest with us. He rushed to the cameras, spouting vague sound bites and tossing out empty statistics. Meanwhile, the energy giants, those same companies raking in billions, faced no challenge from him. Why? Because the very forces that helped him climb to power had no interest in change. A so-called neutral think tank, crafted to look unbiased, was actually funded by corporate money with deep ties to the energy sector. Its true mission, to bring Blairism back from the dead and keep the status quo intact. Today it's emerged that the Labour Party's largest donation came from a Cayman Islands registered hedge fund, with shares in fossil fuels, arms manufacturers and private healthcare. They took £4 million from a hedge fund that invests in everything they claim to hate, basically on a tax haven that they claim they want to clamp down on. The donation fell within the 1 week window, where Labour didn't have to declare it until after the election. So it looks like they were trying to maybe hide it. It's now on record. The Labour Party accepted £4 million in donations from a hedge fund that profits off the very industries Keir Starmer once vowed to take on. And it gets darker. There are reports of £730,000 in so-called dark money, quietly funneled behind the scenes, helping to position Starmer like a corporate Trojan horse at the heart of British politics. Starr doesn't just fail to stand with ordinary people. He stands with those working against them, and it seems he's well compensated for it. Then came the betrayal of the elderly, the very pensioners he once smiled with, posed beside, and pledged to protect. But Dave wasn't about to let Starr walk away from that broken promise without a fight. He said he would protect the winter fuel payment, but now he's in power. He stripped it off our pensioners. He made a solemn promise to protect the most vulnerable, to shield pensioners from the harsh bite of winter by safeguarding their winter fuel payments. But where is that promise now? Lost in the cold language of policy papers and buried beneath press releases that speak more of betrayal than compassion. In the depths of winter, Starmer stripped away the support that pensioners relied on. And once again, another Scottish National Party MP stood up and called him out, not just for a policy shift, but for breaking trust when it mattered most. I was in South Labour at the weekend speaking to pensioners who still cannot understand why the Prime Minister chose to take away their winter fuel payment. And one of them remembered from just 2 years ago, the then leader of the opposition saying, looking ahead to winter is frightening. I've met pensioners who have no idea how they'll heat their home. And she asked me to ask you, Prime Minister, whatever happened to that? So what was Starr's response? Well, he basically boasted about making tough decisions. We've taken tough decisions in this budget to deal with the situation that we've faced. Because of that, we've stabilised the economy. which means we can commit to the triple lock. Because of the triple lock, pensioners will be better off. But I'll take no lectures from his party about running the economy. Their record in Scotland is Keir Starmer recently suggested that scrapping winter fuel payments would somehow boost the economy. How that equation adds up, only he seems to know. But let's be clear, this isn't just policy gone cold. It's a deliberate act of indifference. In making this choice, he effectively told elderly people that they're dispensable, that chasing votes and polishing a public image matters more than protecting those who might otherwise face another brutal winter without warmth. And don't be fooled, it wasn't a difficult decision for him. It was an easy one. Easy for a man who feels no real connection to the people he once promised to fight for. Before we go further, if you're finding this video insightful, please hit the like button, share it with others who care about these issues, and subscribe to our channel. We bring you in-depth takes on the seismic shifts in British politics, and there's a lot more to uncover. Now, let's talk about what may be one of the most heartbreaking betrayals, the WASPy women. These are women who were already blindsided by the Conservatives, robbed of their pensions under the veil of austerity. And instead of standing by them, Starmer turned his back again. And he said he lined up for many photos with WASPy women, saying he'd have their backs, and he's just betrayed them. To Starmer, they weren't people in need of protection. They were stage props in his political theatre. WASPy women fought one of the most sustained and passionate campaigns for justice that I can remember year in, year out. We did promise them that we would give them justice. I understand the issue about the cost. But does the Prime Minister really understand how let down WASPy women feel? He didn't just show up at their protest. He marched in with purpose, shook their hands, looked them in the eye, and lied. That wasn't just betrayal. It was something deeper, something colder. It was emotional exploitation. He knew what they had suffered. He used their pain, their hope, their trust to score political points. And then, like a ghost in a tailored suit, he disappeared. No justice, no pensions, nothing returned. Just another name added to the growing list of people he stepped over on his climb to power. The end of it. I don't think it's going to be the end of it. I think these ladies are a formidable force, and they're certainly going to continue the campaign, and they'll have the support of a number of MPs across Parliament. This time, they're going to regret this. I hope not, because I hope he revisits it and realises. Would have to regret it to revisit it. Well, I hope that he realises the scale of injustice here and that he really does address the concerns that are being raised by these 19. Now, the WASPy women are becoming a real headache for Starmer after shining a light on the promises he made and then broke. They've become a powerful voice of accountability. Commentator Dave Dugan didn't hold back either, calling Starmer a one-trick phony. This is now the defining characteristic of this one-trick phony Prime Minister who says one thing and does another. In Scotland, the SNP are 16 points ahead in the polls. Does he understand? Does he understand why the people of these islands, especially those of us in Scotland, treat him with such contempt? It's hard to overstate how much of a disservice Starmer has done to the political landscape. His dishonesty isn't just a flaw, it's the very core of his identity. Time and time again, he's made promises and then betrayed them. Whether it's his stance on public ownership, tuition fees, or taxes on the wealthy, Starr has said one thing and done another. His rhetoric about standing by Jeremy Corbyn was just another deceptive move designed to win over Labour's left-wing base, only to disregard them once he secured his position. Behind Starmer's rise is a carefully crafted brand engineered by Morgan Winey, a figure steeped in the Blairite tradition, armed with connections and a war chest of dark money aimed at dismantling everything Corbynism stood for. Starmer wasn't chosen to lead Labour. He was installed to neutralise it, to strip it of its soul and steer it in a direction that aligns more with corporate interests than with the working class. A recent damning question from an insider asked whether Starmer understands why so many people have such disdain for him. The answer? No. Because the contempt just doesn't register on a man who believes that power is his birthright. From rail workers to teachers, nurses to students, the working class has watched Starr twist and turn, abandoning them at every turn, especially when they needed him the most. Ironically, his entire career has been spent pointing the finger at others for doing the very things he's guilty of. It's a political tragedy where a man who should have been fighting for people has instead fought for his own political survival. Well, we've heard far more from the latest Prime Minister about cuts to corporation tax over the summer than we have about the cost of living crisis, the single most important thing that's bearing down on so many millions of households. And that shows not only that she's out of touch, but she's not on the side of working people. So she needs to deal with the cost of living crisis. She needs to deal with the fact the NHS is on its knees. And she needs to deal with the collapse of law and order. And there can be no justification for not freezing energy prices. There's a political consensus that that needs to happen. She needs to answer the question, how's she going to pay for that? Labour has been clear. It needs to be a windfall tax on oil and gas companies. So she needs to show that she actually understands and can meet the challenges that are there after 12 years of... Keir Starmer's Labour Party has become a well-polished machine crafted to look safe for banks, oil companies and lobbyists. But the reality is that Starmer himself isn't being respected. And that's why Dave Dugan pointed out how people in Scotland treat him with contempt. There's no heart behind the facade, just a cold strategy, a brand, a slick sales pitch propped up by billionaires and PR firms. This isn't a party that stands for the people anymore. It's a party for profit, and it all leads to one undeniable truth. Starmer isn't just another politician who bends the truth. He's the most dangerous kind. He lies with a straight face, dons a red tie, and calls it progress. But in doing so, he's betrayed workers, students, pensioners, renters, migrants, trade unions, and the very concept of political integrity. Dave didn't just tear into him during Parliament. He exposed the truth on a national stage. That truth can't be hidden or ignored anymore. So what do you think? Has Starmer lost not just the respect of the people, but the MPS too? Can a Prime Minister who doesn't care about his people truly earn any respect? Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you confronted Starmer, would you show him respect or would you call him out for how he's harmed the country? If you want more videos like this, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more insights into British politics. Until the next video, stay tuned. This was today's important update. We want to make it clear that our videos do not contain any kind of misinformation. Our only goal is to deliver true and verified news from across the UK, right here on Britain Unfold. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the Britain Unfold channel. Thank you.